Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about Pakistan and why Pakistan is heading along the wrong route, especially with this guy in power who is very corrupt, and I'll explain why. So as you all know, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan was ousted very recently in a coup orchestrated by the United States. And I say this because it's very much a coincidence how there's been airstrikes coming out of Pakistan and hitting Afghanistan literally a day later. Then you have statements coming out such as this from Blinken. US looks forward to continuously working with Pakistan. And then you also got this: Pakistan looking forward to solidify its relations with US. So you can see everything's pointing towards better relations with the US. So those of you who don't know, Imran Khan is a very famous cricketer. He was one of the most famous cricketers coming out of Pakistan, and he's probably one of the most famous cricketers who ever lived. And he was a very honourable man. He didn't have any issues when he was playing cricket. He was very much well respected, and he decided to go into politics to clean up Pakistan, to clean up all the corruption. Unfortunately, he's been ousted via corruption. People have been basically taking American money to get rid of him. So those of you who don't know the history, Imran Khan has been a very anti-West prime minister, and he famously said that Pakistanis are not slaves to the American faces, which didn't really go down too well in America. And he refused American bases in Pakistan where they used to do airstrikes and drone strikes from this base into Afghanistani soil. So he refused that. When Americans said not to work with Russia, he even refused, and he even went to meet Putin on the day of the Ukrainian war. So obviously that didn't go down too well as well. And the other thing is he's very close to Xi Jinping as well. And obviously the Pakistan is doing the Belt and Road scheme, and is building up Gwadar port. So there's a lot of Chinese investments in Pakistan happening, and so they're very close. So everything points to Americans not being happy about this, because Pakistan used to be an American stooge over the years, for a long time. In fact, Americans were used to Pakistanis pretty much, and they were pretty much telling them what to do. So Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan came about, and he said Pakistanis are not slaves, because America was dictating terms and Imran Khan wasn't having any of it. So Americans decided to get rid of him. So they orchestrated a coup, and they obviously put some money to some corrupt politicians and pushed through a no confidence vote in parliament and ousted him. So this is the problem really. Pakistan always had a problem with corruption, and you can see here the guy they replaced him with is one of the most corrupt guys, and his name is Shahbaz Sharif. And this guy is basically has got so many corruption charges, not only in England. There's a investigation going on in England about money laundering, and there's also corruption charges in Pakistan against him as well. And you can see from these headlines, these are some of the worst corruption charges. Ex-Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif sentenced to 10 years over corruption. And so the new guy is actually his brother. So they are part of the Sharif family. And you can see here, value of Sharif's family's property estimated at 32 million. They've got properties all over London, especially some of the top areas like Hyde Park and Regent's Park and stuff. And they've got a 32 million pounds worth of property, and it could be more. There could be more around the world as well. There could be properties in Dubai, properties all over the world. And you got to ask yourself, how the hell did they get this money with their wages? I mean, if Boris Johnson started buying up millions and millions of pounds of properties all over the world, you would think there's something dodgy going on. So, you know, this money doesn't grow on trees. So obviously, the family Shahbaz Sharif, have been taking money from Pakistan and using it for their own gain. And this is what you call corruption. They've been also taking underhand money as well from other people, especially the Americans. And this is who is in power right now in Pakistan. So I fear for Pakistan because, you know, with Imran Khan, you had a sense that, you know, he's an honourable guy. There's no corruption charges against him. He's a clean, honest guy, and you would think that Pakistan is in good hands and he would lead it well. And he's not been given enough time. You know, he's only been given 4 years, and 4 years is nothing. And I've seen some comments from people living in Pakistan saying, "Oh, he's not been a good president. Look at the inflation." Well, mate, look at the inflation for the rest of the world. Look at Sri Lanka's inflation. Look at India's inflation. Look at, you know, Europe. Look at America. There's inflation going on everywhere. You can't blame Imran Khan for that. He's only been there 4 years. You got to give him time. You know, you look at Putin, what he's done to transform Russia. You know, he inherited a broken Russia. You know, he inherited a destroyed country. And look what he's done. You know, given time. If you have the right leader, given time, you know, you can guarantee things will be turned around. Look at Xi Jinping in China. You know, with the right leader, with the right time, you know, things can turn around eventually. And you can see how Pakistan has been changing over the years. All of these infrastructure projects and investments going into China, going into Pakistan from China, especially part of the CPEC and how the Gwadar port is building. So many great investments and infrastructure projects going into Pakistan over the last 4 or 5 years since Imran Khan has been on power. But the leaders before Pakistan, rather than putting their own money into their own country, they've been laundering it. They've been taking it out of Pakistan, laundering it for themselves, buying properties all over the world. Do you want that kind of leader for Pakistan? I don't think so. Look, I've grown up in East London, and there is a huge Pakistani community in East London. A lot of my best friends are Pakistanis, and I can tell you for a fact that a lot of them, including their families, are very, very upset that Imran Khan was forced to leave. Very upset. And it's not just them feeling that way. There's millions of Pakistanis all over Pakistan demonstrating, but you're not going to see that in the West. They're not going to post these pictures and images in Western papers because the West knows they had something to do with it. They know they had a hand in ousting him, so they're not going to show all of these millions of people in Pakistan protesting against him being kicked out of Pakistan. They're not going to show that. Because they want a puppet. They want a puppet leader in Pakistan who they can give a bit of money to and do what they say. And this is exactly what's happening. Exactly what's happening right now. So the reason, I'm going to go back to the first page. So the reason Imran Khan said the nukes are not safe under Shahbaz Sharif power. And the reason he said that is mainly because of the corruption. So if you got a corrupt leader and someone comes and starts waving a big wad of cash in front of your face, you'll probably take it. So you can imagine people, you know, you can imagine terrorists, or you can imagine maybe even Iranians going up to the president, giving them a bit of money and say, look, give us one of your nukes and we'll give you this much money. And Iran is not far from Pakistan. It can easily be transferred over across without anyone knowing. And things like that could happen. If you have a corrupt leader, you know, you show him a bit of money, they will do anything. That's what Imran Khan means by nukes are not safe. And I have to agree with him. You know, you have these corrupt leaders in Pakistan now who have got a clear evidence against them about corruption, about money laundering. There's cases in London on Shahbaz Sharif on money laundering issues. There's cases of corruption against them. And I just don't understand why they are leader. You know, they're leader because Americans probably knew that he's corrupt. They wanted a puppet. Give him a bit of money. Give all of these parliamentaries a bit of money to vote for him, and that's it. He came into power. You know, I just can't believe it. I mean, I thought Pakistan was moving forward. You know, he had a good leader, and all Imran Khan needed was a bit of time. That's all he needed. All of this inflation happening around the world, it's not his fault. It isn't. Just needed a bit of time. And Pakistan has had issues with corruption ever since it was born in 1947, all the way down 50s and 60s, 70s. And what has America done for Pakistan over the years? Nothing. All they've done is siphoned money out of Pakistan. They've destroyed the country. Pakistan used to be a country full of riches. Used to have so much wealth. More wealth than India at one point. It used to be a rich country. A rich history. Full of proud, honest people. And, you know, over the years, America put its hand in it. And that's it. Just destroyed the country. Even nowadays, you see the GDP of Bangladesh is even higher than Pakistan. And there was one point when Pakistan's economy was 10 times larger than Bangladesh. Now Bangladesh's economy is larger than Pakistan, and you're welcome to Google it. The GDP of last year Bangladesh is higher than Pakistan. And this is all down to the corruption issues, the way Pakistan's been run over the years, and leaders have been taking money out of Pakistan and stealing it and buying properties for themselves. And this is exactly what the Sharifs have been doing. And I just don't understand why put them back in power. Why? The Pakistani people need to stand up and get rid of these crooks and get Imran Khan back in as soon as possible. I know there's some elections, Imran Khan called for elections before he left. And I just hope the right decision is made and the people push for this to happen, because if they don't get Imran Khan back into power, I fear for Pakistan. I really, really fear for Pakistan. And I just hope things work out the way they should be working out. You know, Pakistan doesn't need to be an American stooge, doesn't need to be an American puppet. And like Imran Khan said, Pakistani people are not slaves. That's all I have time for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video.